Hey folks, welcome to this look at Worldographer's Battlemat dungeon mapping functionality. This is going to be a quick overview of this specific functionality. What you see in front of you is a randomly generated house that we created just by going up to New Battlemat Dungeon Map and then selecting Generate House a few minutes ago. And then it just generated that. The only thing I did was I added this ground texture shape, which is just a shape on our shapes drawer that then you pick that particular fill color or fill texture, I should say. And that's the only thing, and likewise for this path. So there's the only two things that I added to that map. At some point in the future, we'll probably readdress that little mini generator for a house and have it auto place those as well for you. But there's several different templates that it has. It has this plus shape template. It's got a two-story template. It's got other more square-like one-story versions and also L-shaped one-story things. Just depending on which one it randomly pulls. You know what? Actually, why not just show another one? Generate another map. There you go. So there's one of our square ones. And likewise, I could put down that texture and a path leading up to the front door. Of course, if you think medieval days, that's probably a pretty nice house for the Middle Ages. You know, maybe for your fantasy Middle Ages, that might be a typical house. But for Middle Ages, you know, there might be just one or two rooms. That's pretty nice. Okay, but we're going to go into doing a simple little 5-room dungeon type thing. And I'm just leaving these settings from before, 20 tiles wide and 16 tiles wide or high. And the sizes, those can always be changed as you zoom in, zoom out. Generate the map, and I'm just going to recenter it here in my window a little bit. So it used to be that we would create maps by just picking a floor tile for terrain and then dropping a few of them down. You know, so maybe we've got a stairway leading down to the dungeon with some antechamber here. And then once we did some of that stuff, we would go into features, or I'm sorry, not features, into shapes. And here's where we would pick a line. So we'll pick a line with a width of 15% here. And with that texture of this rock dark, you know, you can pick whatever texture you'd like. For my dungeon maps, I typically pick that. It gives you a nice dark line. And then you can play with these settings here, the line cap and line join, as far as how it's going to look on the map a little bit. The other thing to note is the snap points to grid. Generally, you're going to leave that on unless you're making unusually shaped dungeons or a cavern. But you're going to want to generally snap things to the vertices of your hexes, as well as it'll snap to the quarter point, halfway point, and three-quarter point across each tile, I should say. So, I still have the other setting on it. So Control-Z undoes that. Hit line, and here we can plop down our line. And, you know, that would be pretty much the way that we would do things before. And then I'll plop down some features. And, you know, I might take these statues. You know, I had statues selected from before. So I might take one of these statues and, you know, you can see what you know, it's a pretty large size. I'm going to unrotate it here. But I can have a big one smack dab right there. As you walk in the door, you'll see it, or walk down the stairs, which, speaking of which, let's get some stairs on here. Now for this, I would flip it around. So I'm going to rotate that 180 degrees. You could also vertically rotate it. I'm going to set the default scale, I know, to 85%, because these are sized by default to be 100% of the size of a tile. So if I set it to this, 85%, that's going to be about halfway. And that's going to also have them facing the other direction. Now, it's hard to tell from the realistic icons in a lot of cases, like for these stairs, which way are those stairs facing? Are they going up or down? One trick to knowing how to do that, or which way it's going, is to go up here to Tools and switch it to the Simple style. So all of our built-in dungeon icons, or most of them, except for the ones that are really small, like some are just like a mug on a table or something. And if it's just that mug, we didn't bother to put in a simple style because you're not going to want every little detail in that case. But here you go. That's just showing you which direction are our stairs going from that. And maybe I would resize this guy down a little bit just based on that. I might say, hey, let's make him 100, and so he doesn't butt up against the wall quite so much. So I can go back to the realistic style anytime though, and see that he still looks pretty big, so it's not a big deal. But going forward, what I like to do, and it's really whatever you prefer, but I typically nowadays will still do this lined texture thing, but then I'll do a fill for it, so I'm not just doing lines to represent the walls. Now I'm doing the entire dungeon, and I think that we've got that tile as one of these settings down here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. But I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to make it like, hey, there's maybe, you know what, as you go through these, the nice thing about doing this kind of stuff is as you go through it, an idea for an adventure kind of evolves in your head. You're like, oh, okay, maybe this was, a family crypt mausoleum type thing, but there's a secret door leading off to something, and so that where that secret door is kind of going to, beyond that is where the flooring is going to kind of change. So I'm going to pick like this cobblestone light. We had a more makeshift look to things, if you will. And let me zoom out a little bit just so I can see a little bit more of the map area, see which way I want to go. Maybe it starts over here, and I got my snap points to grid still on, so that it's going to snap to the each vertex of the squares that you see here on the map, as well as 1/4 of the way across, and halfway across, and 3/4 of the way across, and then same thing up and down. So we're just going to do this. It helps if I select polygon. Okay, so we're doing a polygon, and this is just going to be our corridor. And our corridor goes down like this, say. And so that's the other way to kind of create your map. And the nice thing about this is it's going to let us do unusual shapes. So, if I want to have an oval on the end there, I can. And so I can say, okay, I'm going to do this. So that's my center point. And then whereabouts do I need to have my outer point? And then I can change these around, so I don't think, okay, so yeah. So that looks like a circle, I believe. So we got that there. And then I can do the same thing, though, for another polygon here. So we've got, maybe some sort of a side room type thing here. And then I can deselect, and I can say, well, maybe there's a second side room over here. Make that one a little bit larger. So I'm up to, 4 rooms of my 5-room dungeon. Deselect, and of course this chamber back here needs to have another secret kind of thing to it, or an extension, whether or not it's secret, I don't know. But let's do something like this. We come out like that, and then down. Yeah. A little bit narrow looking there. I can tweak this, if I want to do like that to even it out, we can. And, that's our little 5-room dungeon. And we can go back into features, and we can pick, doors, door, and I can pick any of these door types. Say if I like this best, I can pick that, and I'm going to turn off the override scale to just use the default, and say this one here goes here, and this one here maybe is here. And I can rotate it 90 degrees, get one there, rotate or set it back. Let's say that this is just a regular door, not necessarily secret. And so I can make my 5-room dungeon. Like I said, if we were doing this as a crypt, we've got some coffins here. We've got some altars as well. To me, this looks a little big. Yeah, but I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees regardless. I'm going to override the scale so that it is, let's see what 80 does. 80 is too small, so 95, 95, so that 100 before, so it must by default be more than 100, 110, 110, so that gives me, you know, kind of a full 5 feet. Well, you know, we need to have at least, unless we've got a smaller creature type, that's probably going to be good. There, that gives us, you know, basically 6 feet. You could tweak that a little bit bigger if you wanted to. This here, I'm going to say, is a secret door, which I could, if I go into door, there's one door that you don't see anything here. This is because it is a secret door. We're going to leave that default scale like that. It is rotated 90 degrees. I'm going to click it here. The nice thing is that if we switch to the simple style, oh, the sizing of this is really weird, I believe, yes. So the sizing, you also have to play with the sizing of this particular icon. There's a weirdness to this thing here, but if we set that up to that, maybe I'd actually want to rotate it to 270. So we got that, but then if I, like I said, I can toggle this back to realistic style and it goes away. And then, you know, from there you could add whatever, you know, we could put an altar in that circular room, and we can add another coffin or two. We could, you know, add a pile of gold or some dead bodies or whatever into here, whatever you want to do. But that gives you an idea of the basics of creating a simple dungeon in Worldographer. And I think that covers it. So, you know, if you wanted to, well, I could say, if you wanted to add labels, so we did shapes, we did features, we did terrain. Layers don't really come into this. You can move things up and down when they're on different layers. Like all your features are on the features layer, and all of your terrain is going to be on the terrain layers, and so forth. But labels would be the other thing. So if I wanted to, you know, label my rooms, I can say that this is room 1, and I can give it a style. I can give it this room style here. And if I click new text label, we can see that. Now, I'll probably edit that style. And this is one of the pro features in Worldographer where I can edit this this style. So that room might have been for some other purpose. In any case, it's not really big enough for what I want. So I click apply, close, and now this one will be a good bit bigger and easier to see. So I think that covers it. That's a quick look at the basics of creating a dungeon Battlemat map in Worldographer. And as I've said in the past several videos, we're trying to increase our viewership so that we can drop the ads from our videos. So if you don't mind, I'll link to a couple of other videos that are useful for learning Worldographer. If you could pull up a couple of those, help me, help you, help me, I guess is the idea there. Watch some of those videos, which helps me to remove the videos, which helps you so that you can dive into the content more quickly. So I'd appreciate it. Also subscribe. We've hit the threshold that we need for subscribers, but of course we'll take more because that will help with the other metric in order to drop the ads. But we're just a little bit over halfway to the number of viewing hours that we need over the past rolling 365 days in order to drop the ads. And so we need to keep that going, which is why you're seeing more videos from me. So again, thanks a bunch. Bye.